So let me tell you a story. It's not about politics, it's not about some celebrity doing something weird on Twitter. No, this is a story about family, about resilience, and about rum. But not just any rum, we're talking about Bacardi. Now, when you think of Bacardi, you probably picture a beach, a party, maybe a cocktail with a little umbrella in it. And you're not wrong. But behind that party vibe is a story that is anything but easy. It starts way back in 1862, in Santiago de Cuba, with a man named Don Facundo Bacardi Masso. This guy didn't just wake up one day and decide to make the world's most famous rum. No, life threw everything it had at him and his family. Devastating earthquakes, a cholera epidemic that claimed some of his children, and the constant turmoil of a nation fighting for its independence. It's the kind of stuff that would make most people just give up, right? Go find a nice, quiet, less disaster-prone career. But Don Facundo wasn't most people. He had a vision. He wanted to create a rum that was different, smooth, refined, and sophisticated, not the harsh firewater that was common at the time. And right there beside him, sharing that vision and holding the family together through unimaginable loss, was his wife, Doña Amalia. She was the one who suggested the bat, a symbol of good fortune and family unity in their native Spain, as the company's logo after finding a colony of fruit bats in the rafters of their first distillery. It was a sign, a promise of something good to come, even in the darkest of times. This isn't just a history lesson about a liquor company. It's a masterclass in turning struggle into strength, a family saga that spans generations, exile and revolution. It's a testament to the idea that with enough passion and perseverance, you can build an empire that lasts. This is the story of how Bacardi turned adversity into opportunity and became a global icon. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it. No promotion. Alright, so picture this. It's 1920 in America. The government decides, in its infinite wisdom, to ban alcohol. They call it prohibition. For most distillers, this is a disaster. It's a death sentence. Their biggest market just vanished overnight. You can imagine the panic, right? Boardrooms filled with guys in suits, heads in their hands, saying, well, that's it, it's over. Time to start making, I don't know, grape juice. But not Bacardi. Oh no. The Bacardi family looked at prohibition and saw something completely different. They didn't see a closed door. They saw a golden invitation, an opportunity so brilliant it was almost criminal. While American companies were shutting down, Bacardi ramped up. They started running these brilliant ad campaigns in American magazines. The ads were clever. They didn't say, hey, come break the law. They said, tired of the cold? Thirsty? Come on down to sunny Cuba. The ads showed beautiful beaches, vibrant nightlife, and of course, delicious, perfectly legal Bacardi cocktails. They weren't just selling rum anymore. They were selling a destination. They were selling an escape from the drab, dry reality of Prohibition-era America. Cuba became the official weekend getaway for thirsty Americans, and Havana became the unofficial capital of the cocktail. Bacardi basically turned the entire island of Cuba into their personal marketing campaign. They essentially said, your government won't let you party at home? Fine. We'll throw a bigger, better party right here in our backyard, and everyone's invited. They hosted parties, sponsored events, and made sure that the first thing you saw when you stepped off the boat or plane was a sign for a refreshing Bacardi drink. They transformed a national crisis in their biggest market into the ultimate promotional tool. It was a genius move that cemented their brand in the minds of a generation. This wasn't just about surviving prohibition, it was about thriving because of it. They established Bacardi not just as a spirit you drink, but as a key ingredient to a certain kind of life. A life of fun, freedom, and tropical escape. They didn't just weather the storm, they harnessed its power and sailed to new horizons. While their competitors were sinking, Bacardi was hosting the world's biggest pool party, and in doing so, they laid the foundation for a global brand identity that was all about celebrating life, no matter the circumstances. So, after surviving prohibition by turning Cuba into a giant party, Bacardi had learned a crucial lesson, a lesson that would define their strategy for decades to come. They weren't just in the business of making and selling rum. Anyone could do that. No, Bacardi was in the business of selling an experience. They were selling the feeling of warm sand between your toes, the sound of waves crashing on the shore, and the taste of a perfectly mixed drink on a hot day. They were bottling the very idea of a tropical vacation and selling it to the world. This became crystal clear in their marketing. Think about their famous taglines. Bacardi and Cola, the mixable one. That's not just a description of the product. It's an invitation. It's saying, here's the key. You have the cola, we have the magic. Mix them together and create your own moment of escape. It's empowering the customer to be the bartender, the host, the creator of their own good time. Every ad, every poster was designed to transport you. You weren't just looking at a bottle of rum, you were looking through a window to a more relaxed, more fun version of your life. They mastered the art of association. The Bacardi logo became synonymous with celebration. The bat wasn't just a symbol of good luck anymore, it was a symbol of a good time. They sponsored music festivals, sporting events, and anything that screamed fun and excitement. They wanted you to see their name and instantly think of laughter, music, and friends. It was a psychological masterstroke. You could be stuck in a tiny apartment in the middle of a freezing winter, but for the price of a bottle, you could mix a drink and be mentally whisked away to a beach in the Caribbean. This focus on experience is what separated them from the pack. Other brands would talk about their aging process, the type of barrels they used, the purity of their water source. And that's all fine. But Bacardi was talking to your soul. They were selling a feeling, an escape, a mini vacation. They understood that people don't just buy products. They buy the story they can tell themselves about the product. And the story Bacardi was selling was one of the most appealing stories of all. Relax, let go, and enjoy the moment. Now, every great brand needs a story, a legend, something that makes them special, that sets them apart from everyone else. For Bacardi, that story was baked right into the way they made their rum. Remember Don Facundo, our visionary founder? He wasn't just a businessman, he was an innovator, a scientist of spirits. Back in the 1860s, the rum of the day was, to put it nicely, rough. It was harsh, fiery, and known as aguardiente, which literally means firewater. It was the kind of drink that put hair on your chest, and probably took some off too. Don Facundo knew there had to be a better way, so he started experimenting. He was obsessed. He tried different strains of yeast, different aging techniques in different barrels. But his real breakthrough, his secret weapon, was charcoal. He developed a unique process of filtering the rum through a secret mix of charcoals. This wasn't just a simple strain. It was a carefully guarded family recipe that mellowed the spirit, removed the impurities, and stripped away the harshness. What was left was something revolutionary, a light-bodied, smooth, and clean-tasting rum. It was elegant, it was refined, it was unlike anything anyone had ever tasted before. This process didn't just give them a better product, it gave them an incredible marketing tool. It became their origin story, their proof of quality. They could talk about craftsmanship, about a proprietary method passed down through generations. It turned the production process itself into a legend. While other rums were just rum, Bacardi was the original charcoal-mellowed rum. It sounded sophisticated, it sounded special. It gave them an air of mystery and quality that no one else could claim. They didn't hide this process in the distillery, they put it front and center. They told the story of Don Facundo's relentless quest for perfection. They explained how the charcoal filtration made their rum smoother and more mixable. This narrative of quality and craftsmanship became a cornerstone of their brand identity. It allowed them to position Bacardi not just as a party drink, but as a premium spirit, worthy of its place on the top shelf. It was a perfect blend of a superior product and brilliant storytelling, proving that sometimes what you do behind the scenes is the most interesting story you have to tell. For over a century, Bacardi was rum. The two were inseparable. But as the world headed towards the new millennium, the Bacardi family, now in its 5th and 6th generations, realized something important. To truly secure their future and legacy, they couldn't just be the kings of rum. They had to become an empire of spirits. The world of drinking was diversifying, and if they wanted to stay on top, they needed to diversify too. It was a bold, risky move. They were about to step outside the comfort zone they had dominated for 130 years. The big moment came in 1993. Bacardi made a huge splash by acquiring Martini and Rossi, the iconic Italian brand famous for its vermouth and sparkling wines. This wasn't just buying another company, it was a statement of intent. It was Bacardi announcing to the world that they were no longer just a rum company. They were a global player in the wider world of spirits and wines. This acquisition instantly doubled their size and gave them a powerful foothold in the European market. It was the first major step in transforming from a single product giant into a multi-category powerhouse. But they didn't stop there. The late 90s saw them go on a strategic shopping spree. In 1998, they added two of Scotland's most prestigious whiskies to their portfolio, Dewar's Blended Scotch and the single malt Aberfeldy. This was a masterstroke, giving them entry into the lucrative and traditional world of Scotch. Then, in the same year, they acquired Bombay Sapphire Gin, a brand that was redefining the gin category with its iconic blue bottle and emphasis on botanical ingredients. Suddenly, the Bacardi bar wasn't just for rum cocktails, it was stocked with premium gin, scotch, and vermouth. This strategy of smart strategic diversification was transformative. It insulated them from shifts in consumer taste. If rum sales dipped, scotch might be up. If gin was the hot new trend, they were already a leader in the category. This bold expansion turned Bacardi Limited into the largest privately held, family-owned spirits company in the world. They proved that while you should never forget your roots, true, lasting success comes from having the courage to think beyond your core product and build a legacy that is as diverse as it is strong. So there you have it. From a tiny distillery in Santiago de Cuba, battered by earthquakes and epidemics, to a global spirits empire, the story of Bacardi is so much more than the history of a brand. It's a story about the enduring power of family. For over 160 years and through 7 generations, the Bacardi family has held the reins, guiding their company through revolution, exile, and the ever-changing tastes of the world. They've kept Don Facundo's vision alive, not as a dusty relic, but as a living, breathing principle that informs every decision they make. Their unity has been their ultimate secret ingredient. Their journey is a powerful reminder that the biggest challenges often hide the greatest opportunities. Prohibition could have destroyed them, but instead, it made them masters of marketing. Competition could have limited them, but it pushed them to innovate and tell a better story. Sticking to a single product could have made them vulnerable, but they had the foresight to diversify and build a stronger, more resilient empire. At every turn, where others saw a wall, Bacardi saw a ladder. They didn't just survive adversity, they used it as fuel for their growth and creativity. This incredible legacy of resilience, innovation, and family unity continues today. They're still pushing boundaries, still creating new experiences, and still guided by that little bat that Doña Amalia saw in the rafters all those years ago. A symbol of fortune, yes, but also a symbol of sticking together in the dark until you find the light. Bacardi's history is one of never giving up, facing challenges head-on and coming out stronger.